Watch out! They may be hovering over you, or you, or you!
Welcome back, my ghoulish gang of movie maniacs. It's Mercy, your hostess of horror and curator of cinematic chaos. Tonight we're stepping through the velvet ropes of a club like no other, a place where the monsters dance, the undead sing, and Vincent Price himself invites you to join the party. This is the Monster Club, where horror goes disco and the crypt has a cover charge. Released in 1981, The Monster Club is a British horror anthology directed by none other than Roy Ward Baker, the same gentleman who gave us Quatermass in the Pit and Scars of Dracula. By this point, Hammer and Amicus had both packed up their coffins, and horror was going through a full-blown identity crisis. Slashers ruled the box office, and the gothic chills of the 1960s were starting to feel quaint. So, enter in the Monster Club, an unholy mashup of Tales from the Crypt and Studio 54. Vincent Price plays a lovable and adorable vampire named Erasmus. He's suave, articulate, and, like I said, terrifying and adorable. After having a little nibble on a lonely horror writer played by John Carradine, he insists on taking him to his favorite haunt, the Monster Club. Imagine a gothic cabaret filled with werewolves, ghouls, vampires, and what looks like a few misplaced punk rockers from Soho. Now, the club itself is just a spooky framing device for 3 short stories, each representing a different monster species and morality tale. So, let's sink our fangs into them. The first tale drops us into the melancholy world of the Shadmock, a creature so gentle and painfully lonely, he feels less like a monster and more like that quiet office coworker who apologizes when you bump into him. Except this timid soul carries a supernatural curse in his throat. Cross him and his whistle won't just hurt your feelings, it'll peel reality apart. What makes this segment hit is the emotional whiplash. You start with this almost fairy tale sweetness. The Shadmock is just longing for companionship, and he is desperate to be seen as more than the sum of his claws and fangs. Then, in steps our human antagonist, a woman whose heart is as hollow as the mansion she's trying to rob. She pretends to love him, batting her eyelashes while mentally calculating his net worth. And the tragic thing? He believes her. He wants to believe her. When the betrayal comes crashing down, the tone shifts hard. The pastel-colored gothic romance fractures, giving way to something more raw and operatic. That whistle scene, that is pure concentrated nightmare fuel. It's not just a monster lashing out, it's heartbreak detonating. His sorrow becomes a weapon, and the film leans into that blend of pity and dread that so many creature features only hint at. It's gothic tragedy wearing a horror anthology's mask, tender, mournful, and then shockingly brutal. The Shadmock isn't the villain here. He's the emotional core, and by the end you're left wondering who exactly was the real monster. Next up, we slide into a cheeky little number that feels like someone mashed The Lost Boys, The Goonies, and a BBC after-school special into one gloriously awkward horror smoothie. Our protagonist is a perfectly ordinary, slightly clueless kid until he realizes Dad's not just working nights. He's a full-on card-carrying vampire, and let me tell you, this family secret is about as well kept as a dripping bite mark. Right away, this segment leans into that delightfully retro 80s kids horror vibe. Bright colors, big reactions, and the wholesome sense of danger where you know no one's going to get truly mutilated, but someone is definitely going to get grounded. There's this undercurrent of innocence, a child trying to process the fact that his dad can turn into a bat while also probably helping with homework. What I adore here is how the story pokes at mob mentality. Once the townsfolk get wind of the supernatural, they go full grab your pitchforks and hope for the best mode. And like all good satire, it exposes how fear makes people loud, messy, and profoundly unhelpful. Everyone's so busy panicking together that they forget to actually think, a very human trait the film gleefully skewers. Tonally, it's complete opposite of the Shadmock tragedy. Gone are the melancholic shadows and romantic gloom. Instead, you get camp, charm, and a dash of slapstick. It's a palate cleanser, absolutely, but it's also a smart little breather that reminds you horror doesn't always have to be doom and violins. Sometimes it could be dads with pointy teeth, overly dramatic villagers, and a boy who just wants to keep his family from being staked by neighbors who, well, just can't mind their business. It's light, it's silly, and it's got the comedic timing of a vampire trying to hide the fact he can't see himself in the bathroom mirror. And honestly, that's half the fun. And finally, we descend into a real meat grinder of the anthology, the ghouls. This tale kicks off with a film location scout, a man whose entire job is to wander into strange places and say, hey, yeah, this'll look great on camera. Unfortunately for him, he picks the wrong patch of countryside, the kind where the fog hangs low, the roads lead nowhere, and the locals look at you like you're already halfway seasoned. The village he stumbles into feels cursed in a way that's not loud or flashy, but ancient, like it's been rotting quietly under England's veneer of normalcy for centuries. The ghouls themselves aren't your sleek, sexy monsters. Oh no. These are grave-dwelling carrion feeders who look like they crawled out of a medieval nightmare painting. They're not glamorous, they're hungry. And the film treats them with this almost documentary-style bleakness, as if we just uncovered a really bad chapter of a rural folklore that no one actually wanted preserved. The whole segment has the energy of a Lost Witchfinder General sequel, that grim, oppressive mood where superstition and brutality hold hands. It's not just horror, it's historical horror, the kind that makes you feel like you've time traveled back to an era where human life was cheap and the earth itself was hostile. And that dread? It's absolutely immersive. You feel trapped in the village with our poor scout. The roads closing, the smiles getting thinner, the ghouls creeping closer. There's no wink to the audience, no campy breather. It's just straight up pulse-thudding doom. Your heart doesn't pump blood during this one, it pumps panic. Roy Ward Baker absolutely flexes here. He blends the old-school gothic misery, the mossy graves, the decrepit chapels, the sense of moral decay, with a sharp and modern cynicism. It's a story about exploitation on both ends, the film industry preying on rural poverty, and the rural horrors preying right back. It's grim, it's cold, and it's easily the darkest tale of the anthology. By the end, you're not just watching a nightmare, you're stuck in it with them. Between the stories, we keep coming back to the club itself, where monsters party like it's Halloween every night. The music is pure early 80s camp, with tracks by B.A. Robertson, The Pretty Things, and The Viewers. It's like a Halloween playlist trapped in a haunted jukebox, part new wave, part nightmare cabaret. And yes, Vincent Price actually dances. Or, well, elegantly sways to a band called the Monster Club Band. I mean, come on, what can be better than that? What makes the Monster Club special isn't the makeup or the music, but Vincent Price himself. This was one of the last major horror roles he did before he gracefully transitioned into being everyone's favorite spooky uncle. Here he's warm, witty, and heartbreakingly human for a vampire. By the end, he delivers a wonderful monologue that feels like a eulogy for all classic monsters and for the era of Gothic horror itself. He reminds us that monsters in all their weird forms might actually be better than the humans who fear them.
Humans began with certain very serious disadvantages, but these they overcame with wonderful ingenuity. Not having a fang or a claw.
And with that, Vincent Price didn't just close a story. He closed an era. The Monster Club isn't perfect. It's uneven, a little silly, and the monster masks look like something from a Spirit Halloween clearance bin. But it's also charming, deeply heartfelt, and absolutely unique. It's a love letter to the creatures of the night and to the people who never quite fit in. So, if you've ever felt like a shadmock in a world full of smooth talkers, or just wanted to dance under a disco ball made of bones, this one's for you. And remember, in the Monster Club, everyone's welcome. As long as you don't whistle. Until next time, my fiends, stay spooky, stay strange, and never underestimate a man in a cape. This has been Mercy's Movie Madness, where even the monsters have heartbeats.
Have a potato.